by Conte Small of Reflection Music Group. And if you look up Conte, that's Konata Small, and that song's called Oh Lord. So if you want to go check that out, it's available to purchase. And also, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there listening. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to my mother, to my grandmother. Happy Mother's Day to everybody that's tuned in. So, also, you look at old man Ginobili with that block shot. And I didn't think he had it in him. I thought old man Ginobili was done. And he literally jumped up and blocked a three-point shot. And it seems like he came out of nowhere. So I was pretty impressed with what Ginobili did. Like I said, I didn't think he had it in him. But I would definitely say that this playoffs, if you look at a couple of series, it hasn't been all greatness. It hasn't been all these games where you're excited to see. There's only been a couple of series that like that. So we'll have Jonathan Bates here in just a second. And also shout out to Maestro with Barbershop, the Barbershop Podcast. Go check out their show, WSME.com, or go to Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast on Spreaker. And I believe we have Jonathan Bates on the show. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going great. Ready
appreciate
for this game
you for
on my day.
Definitely. Appreciate you for coming on.
No, thank you.
All right, so we're going to get into this NBA playoffs. And first of all, we got to talk about, let's preview this Warriors-Spurs series, because it's actually getting ready to go down tomorrow, which I thought they would have had the Boston Wizards game on tomorrow. To me, that would have been fitting. But what's your thoughts on this Warriors versus Spurs? Give us a preview and your thoughts on it.
You know, I feel like the Rockets had a better chance of beating the Warriors than the Spurs, but, you know, James Harden, he threw the game away. It seemed like he choked. It seemed like the Spurs gave him money. But with the Spurs and the Warriors, I feel like the Warriors have a huge advantage with Kawhi Leonard and his ankle, him being a little bit injured. I know that he's not 100% ready yet, and you can actually tell by that. However, Tony Parker changed the whole game of the Warriors versus the Spurs, and that's because Patty Mills had to play in more minutes, and their bench is looking a little bit weak. With Murray at the point guard, Stephen Curry would destroy him on one-on-one situations. He really don't have any experience guarding Stephen Curry like Tony Parker guarded Stephen Curry. When you see Klay Thompson's, the Warrior shooters are different from the Rockets. The Warrior shooters are more consistent, and they know how to control the game, and they know how to use the ball in their hands and score without the ball in their hands and play more off ball. And another thing is that the Warriors bench is not as good as the Rockets, but they know how to play defense as well. The Rockets bench didn't really know how to play defense and stop Patty Mills from going left and shooting those threes, nor could they stop David Lee. But however, the Warriors have a vicious bench that can come in, that's veterans that have a lot of experience of Patty Mills in that bench. The Warriors offense will cause problems for the Spurs defense. I know it sounds crazy because the Spurs have a great defense. They have Greg Popovich, a great mindset. They have Kawhi Leonard, but they have too many shooters, and that was the main problem for the Spurs in the first few games of the series. The Rockets had too many shooters, and they wasn't able to stop them. The only reason why the Spurs won is because the Rockets defense is not all that good, and you've seen that the Spurs exposed the Rockets defense with the mid-range shot, with LaMarcus Aldridge going down low, pounding low with the mid-range jumper. So it's definitely a difference from the Warriors and the Rockets, and the Warriors will dominate on the offensive end, last the defensive end.
Yeah, and I think I have to agree. We got Maestro from Barbershop Sports Talk saying they're going to run them old ninjas off the floor in 6. Um, I think age will catch up to the Spurs, especially with this game, with this series going 6, with Kawhi Leonard, with Tony Parker not playing. I don't see Ginobili having that much more left. I don't see LaMarcus Aldridge, who honestly did not show up as much as he should have been in this series. I don't see him being able to completely beast down low, especially against Draymond. I'm assuming Draymond's going to be on him. Draymond's an extremely good defender. So, to me, in this series, I'm gonna agree with Maestro. I think Warriors in 6. I think it's going to be a test for the Warriors, but they are battle tested, and they've been rested for a while. It seems like it's been weeks since we've seen the Warriors play. I know the Cavs series just ended last week, but that's a full week off. So to me, this series is clearly a win for the Warriors. So let's go to the next topic here. We've got the Celtics and the Wizards Game 7 Monday night. Like I said, I was thinking that should have been a Sunday game. I mean, you probably got more ratings. But this series to me has been the best series, I think, out of the playoffs as a whole, especially with it going to Game 7. John Wall, Isaiah Thomas's situation with his sister, him coming back. It's been like an old school series, like a Pistons type series. You got the Celtics dressing up in all black. Man, this has been pretty dope right here. But what's your thoughts going into Game 7, and who's your pick?
My thoughts on this series is that it's crazy. This series is crazy, and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Because if you watch the Celtics and Wizards during the regular season, you kind of seen that there was a playoff team. I remember I tweeted out on my Twitter that the Wizards and Celtics is a must-guaranteed watch playoff game this year. So it lived up to the hype. The Wizards, if nobody didn't know, that the Wizards came to the Celtics Stadium. Not the Celtics Stadium, but the Wizards arrived with all black on. The same thing that the Celtics did recently yesterday. So the Celtics tried to come through with the same thing, the same approach that the Wizards did, and said it was going to be a funeral. But however, John Wall changed that situation. I'm loving this series. Just an old school basketball series, like you said, and it's just like Pistons, the bad boys Pistons. You see the Celtics and the Wizards fighting each other, they grumbling with each other. I loved what Kelly Oubre did. It brought back an old basketball feeling, and I'm loving this series. But it's going to be hard to win in Game 7 in Boston, in TD Garden. And it's not just because the Boston have Isaiah Thomas. It's not that, but the atmosphere. If you ever been in the TD Gardens in the playoffs, it's crazy. It's a crazy atmosphere. It's hard to control the game, and it's like the fans controlling the game for you instead of you taking the game. That's why the Stars have to control the game and take over the game and let the game sometimes come to them. So my pick is my actual pick is the Wizards. I think the Wizards can win this game. They're going to get off to a fast start. The reason why the Wizards didn't get off to a fast start last time because the Wizards missed 11 of the 13 shots when they were up. So that was one of the main reasons why John Wall had another bad game, 2 straight games, early game, but he changed it away during after halftime. But in order for the Wizards to have to win, they have to control Isaiah Thomas and blitz him on the pick and roll. Isaiah Thomas is 5'8". Really, that's what the basketball players are saying, but he's really 5'6". They have to blitz him like they did in the last 2 minutes of the game, and they have to force him to make those passes because he cannot see over those 6'6" players, 6'9" players. So you have to blitz him and have a player over Avery Bradley and let somebody else take the jump shot. But my thoughts is that this is going to be one of the best Game 7s we've seen, possibly on the same level as the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Warriors in the NBA Finals type of Game 7. I'm looking forward to it.
It's definitely going to be a good one. And Barbershop Sports Talk, my man Maestro says, facts, #facts. In the regular season, John Wall didn't like that. I believe he's probably talking to them, I guess them dressing up in black. And he said, this is a historic series. I agree. Bill got to have a game. Bradley Beal definitely has to have a good game in this Game 7 for it to go down how
Definitely.
the Wizards want to. You cannot have a situation where John or Bradley Beal or John Wall doesn't show up. I believe they both need to. But also on the Celtics side, you can't have a series where you're having a situation where Avery Bradley's not showing up, or they're going to have another piece that's going to have to step up, and maybe that's Al Horford going to have to put up 20, but it's going to have to be on both sides. I think they're going to have 2 to 3 players put up some 15 to 20 points to really have a chance.
Yeah, the bench. I'm sorry to cut you off, Ben, but the bench for the Boston Celtics was just horrible last game. The total bench only scored 5 points, which was Kelly Olynyk 4 points and Marcus Smart 1 point. That can happen. Your bench have to score more than 5 points in a playoff time. Avery Bradley played 42 minutes. That's going to take a toll on him somehow, some way, somehow. But they had 2 days ago. Mia Johnson off. So I thought that they should trade Lee Killer from Orlando Magic and move Al Horford to the power forward position where he truly should play at the power forward, and let Amir Johnson get on the bench. But the Boston Celtics didn't make that maneuver at all. They stayed the same, and that's going to hunt them coming in Game 7. And another thing, switch over to the Wizards side. So Brandon Jennings have to show up. If he wants that contract in the offseason, he needs to show up this Game 7. He cannot have another game where he scores 0 points, 0 for 2 with 8 minutes and no assists. That's why the Wizards picked him up on the waivers. He cannot do that. He have to go back to the old Brandon Jennings and score some points. And lastly, Otto Porter. He have to show up like he did in Game 4 and Game 5. He needs to show up. 0 points is not great for 35 minutes in a game for no reason. That's why you get a paycheck. You have to show up.
I agree. That's definitely what's going to need to happen. And shout out to Cedric Galloway jumping in on the chat room. Also, we got DJ Nunu jumping in on the chat room as well. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. DJ Nunu actually has a show going on right now at this moment, so appreciate you for jumping in, showing some love. All right, so Brandon Jennings, to me, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if, I believe he went to like Japan or China or something before he actually came to the NBA. I don't know if his head got too big and he thought he was, the realest in the NBA, but his stock has fell off major. I don't think he's getting a max contract. I don't think so. But to your point, he's definitely going to have a big game because the season's on the line. A lot is on the line. But I'm confused on what happened to Brandon Jennings, and I don't know if he's kind of just fading to black and just fading into not being relevant on a good team. All right, so before I let you go, Leonard is supposed to be playing in this expected opening series, and what I see him struggling because for him not to play, to me, was huge. I don't think that was just a Popovich type situation. I think this was he may be really truly hurt, and how much does that affect this series? And I think that's going to be a big part of this series only going 6, and it may not even go 6. I think we're almost reaching if we say it's going 6. But let's move over to James Harden. I did want to talk about James Harden. What does this mean for his season? Does this change everything, or is he still the MVP? And who is your MVP, first of all? Well, looks like I don't know if I lost Jonathan. If you're there, chime back in. But to me, my MVP, which I've been saying it for a long time, is Russell Westbrook. I think James Harden also had a good year. I know the votes are already in, so at this point, it doesn't really matter. But to me, this was weird. This was extremely weird for Harden, how this season ended for the Rockets, And to me, it